Hi, I'm Erik Voss, and Avengers 4 details just keep trickling out, and with the stakes so high after Infinity War, literally any tiny clue could have massive implications, and potential spoiler warning before I go further, but in this case, it's what appears to be a leaked set photo of Gwyneth Paltrow as Pepper Potts, wearing a suit of Iron Man-style armor of her own. What the hell is going on? Well, we got you covered, because when it comes to Marvel news, this channel loves making Mount Bashengas out of Bucky dust. So let's break down this confusing social media post with another new Rockstars tweet down! Okay, we're talking about this image of Gwyneth Paltrow as Pepper Potts in front of a green screen wearing some kind of new armor with a purplish bluish color. Now, this probably wasn't a selfie posted by Gwyneth Paltrow herself, she'd be sued to death, but it does appear to be a legitimate photo, not photoshopped or anything. I just doubt Paltrow would be allowed to take selfies like this. The sets for these Avengers movies are pretty locked down, even for top-level talent. To me, this looks more like the kind of photo the hair or makeup or costume departments might take to make sure the character's look stays consistent scene to scene or take to take. And this photo also seems legit based on other leaks we've seen. One was a photo that Paltrow did post herself on an Instagram story last year, showing herself in prep as Pepper Potts as her body was wrapped up in a motion capture suit. Now, Paltrow has confirmed that Pepper Potts did survive Thanos' snap, and she even has gone as far as to hint that Avengers 4 could be set after a time jump, saying things like 10 years later and possibly having a kid with Tony. And this mocap suit suggested that she wouldn't just appear in Avengers 4 in a standard live-action role, but one augmented with some visual effects. Then, even more recently, there were some leaked designs of Avengers toys, one of which featured Iron Man paired up with a female armor suit, purple and white colored. I know, it's kind of dumb that we're analyzing toys for clues for this movie, but I've said it before, the answers are in the toys, people. What are you hiding? Really, the reason this seems legit is the fact that Pepper armor actually has precedent in the Marvel comics. In 2009, Matt Fraction's run of the Invincible Iron Man featured Tony Stark designing a custom Iron Man suit for Pepper Potts, referred to as the Rescue Armor. Pepper dons this armor under the name Rescue and saves people in emergency scenarios. The Rescue Armor is pretty much a standard Iron Man suit, none of the bells and whistles that War Machine or Iron Man's later suits featured. But the question is, why does Pepper need this armor? What's she gonna use it for? And if some of her scenes will be shot with Paltrow in a mocap suit, why does she also need practical costume armor? The first theory is that she could use this armor to rescue Tony. Remember, Tony and Nebula were left on Titan at the end of Infinity War, though they did have the ship that Nebula used to get to Titan, plus the Milano that the Guardians used to get there. It's just not clear what state those ships are in, but really I just don't see why Pepper Potts would need to spearhead that effort to rescue Tony. Far more qualified galaxy travelers, including Thor, whose fancy Stormbreaker battle axe contains the power of the Bifrost, allowing him to whoosh wherever the hell he wants, they'd be way more useful in helping Tony get back to Earth. But the second theory is a bit darker. If the interpretation of Paltrow's 10 years later time jump quote is correct, what kind of future will these characters be living in? Think about it. If half the world's population suddenly vanished, that'd be devastating. You should check out the HBO series The Leftovers. That features the aftermath of a similar Rapture-style event, but in that case, only 2% of the population departed. And even then, society went crazy. The eerie post-credits scene of Ant-Man and the Wasp with the emergency broadcast blaring from the TV over the empty house, that was just the beginning. The world is probably gonna look a lot more like when Nick Fury saw that helicopter crash into the building. Chaos! I'm not gonna go into it, but you do not want to flip a coin for every person currently keeping society intact. Air traffic controllers, people operating nuclear submarines, that little Dutch boy with his finger in the... Whoa, I'm not gonna say that word. We are talking about literal post-apocalyptic times. 28 days later post-apocalyptic. I Am Legend post-apocalyptic. Maybe Tony Stark will have designed this new suit for Pepper Potts as a form of regular body armor that she wears every day to protect her from the roving bands and mutant zombies of this hellish future. Hopefully he also designed a toddler-sized Mark 85 for little Morgan Stark, or name TBD. Another theory for Pepper's armor incorporates the more fantastical directions that we predicted Avengers 4 could go. Specifically, the possibility that the movie could explore time travel and/or alternate timelines and alternate realities. In the comics, Pepper takes on the rescue armor after Tony Stark actually goes into hiding. There's a secret invasion storyline in which some of the Avengers are discovered to be Skrull shapeshifter imposters, and Tony gets blamed for it, so he wipes his superhero database and goes underground. So Pepper essentially fills in Tony's absence as Rescue. Now, in this Infinity War timeline, Tony was one of the lucky ones who didn't vanish. But maybe in the Avengers Quantum Meddling in Avengers 4, we could see a new parallel timeline in which history played out a bit differently. Like maybe in one of these timelines, Tony Stark didn't make it back through the portal when tossing the nuke through it. Or maybe he got caught under Sokovia when Ultron dropped it. Or Cap decided to actually smash his face in Civil War. Or maybe Tony just tripped and fell off a building McCauley when trying to lecture Peter Parker in Homecoming. Look, Tony's had a lot of close calls, and maybe just one of them could have gone another way, kicking into motion a whole backup protocol in which Pepper Potts in her mourning has to carry on his legacy. And the idea of multiple parallel timelines with alternate futures could also explain why Paltrow had a practical costume armor in this photo, but a full goofy mocap unitard in the other photo. Like maybe there's yet another reality where she takes on a different form entirely, like a She-Hulk. Ooh, that would piss off a lot of fans if they did it that way. Anyway, comment down below with what you think the story behind Pepper Potts' new armor will be. And follow me on Twitter and Instagram at EA Voss, and subscribe to New Rockstars for tweet downs and toy downs, cake downs. Wait a minute, that's not a green screen behind Paltrow. Oh my God. Ruffalo, we need to talk!